Okay, welcome back to Hey Coach. We've got Ryan Teliske here today.
I got
Donnie Peters.
hello.
He's famous already. One episode in.
23 likes.
Yeah. So today we've got Ryan in. He's going to be the big guru behind Hey Coach. So anyone that's got questions, please DM him. Blow up his Instagram. Right?
Yeah, full
'Cause you
disclosure.
you
I'm
know.
still learning too. I'm still learning. Still learning, still young.
So Ryan, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who you are, what you do, how you got into volleyball, how you got into coaching.
Where
Who
are you
your
coaching
favorite
now?
coaches?
Yeah, that's a lot. We'll go back. Started playing volleyball like most people in grade 7. Luckily I had some siblings who were already playing, so I was peppering in the yard when I was in elementary school, and then quickly fell in love with sports. Just I've always loved sports that bring out more athleticism in someone than other sports. So volleyball really hit that home. Volleyball and soccer are the two big ones. After U14 winning provincials with my team, I kind of made the decision to pursue volleyball over soccer, and dropped playing high level soccer to focus on volleyball. And then I kind of stopped growing, and it might have been the wrong decision, but I loved it, and I kept pushing through. Um, Once I got to high school, I started helping coach the junior high teams a little bit. But then as soon as I graduated high school, I was trying to come back, help coach the high school. Played my 5 years of college at Concordia, where Shamus was my first coach, and one of the coaches I learned the most about
Oh, thanks.
from.
And we didn't pay you to say that, right?
No, but it wasn't straight volleyball technical skills I learned from him. Something when you get into college volleyball, it's super important is how to grow up, how to be a man, how to think for yourself, how to take criticism and apply that in a positive way. So I learned a lot about that from Shamus. Um, Fast forward a few years, a lot of coaching of camps, high schools, clubs. I ended up helping out with King's University for just a couple months with my buddy who needed an extra hand or two. And then next thing you know, he was offering me the chance to apply for that job as he was moving on. And I was able to apply for that job as well as a marketing job at King's, which is what I also do. So I do marketing in sports now at King's, and I head coach the men's volleyball team, and I'm in my 3rd year.
Nice. What would you say the biggest challenge was going from your playing career into your coaching career?
That's a tough question. Taking a step back, and being a coach and not a player. I've always been a very hands-on guy, and as a coach, it's not about you anymore. I was always focused on being the best and wanting to be the best, and finding people who were better than me and then trying to be better than them. But as a coach, now I'm trying to help young athletes be the best and be the best they can be. So switching that focus took a couple months when I first started, because it's 6 days a week. It's a full-time job just to be a coach. Even though a lot of coaches are part-time, it's if you're doing it right, you're a full-time coach. So that was probably the toughest thing, was to dedicate all that time. Then I quickly loved it. I was given a phenomenal team full of vets who did really well. And it was exciting to see them in their last couple of years. And I know what my last couple of years were like. So I was able to relate, and I just wanted to give them the best seasons they could, and do everything I could on my part for them to win as many games as possible, to achieve greatness. And putting yourself in their shoes makes it a lot easier to do my side of the job, because I know how much it means to them. And I see the sweat, tears, blood
Yeah.
that comes from these guys. So it's really hard not to be given it all I got.
Do you think it was easier jumping into a college program with a bunch of 4th and 5th year guys? Do you think that was easier? Or do you think it would have been easier to jump in with a bunch of first years?
So I think there's benefits and negatives, positive and negatives to both sides. The positive was I had a great team who I didn't have to do much for. And they were, at the time, near their peak. Not that they can't grow to be better players in future years, but with the stress of college, the stress on your body, you can only get so much physically better in that short time. So I was able to help with nutrition, help with getting in the gym, mobility, recovery, focus on stuff like that and team culture where they were already good enough players.
Oh, that's awesome.
But the negatives were I didn't develop a team. I didn't create this culture. I was kind of just adding my touch to it. I didn't have to focus about recruiting as much as I had most of those guys for 2 more years. And now I have a very young team and it is completely different. It almost feels like I'm restarting. All my past experience in the last 2 years, the in-game coaching experience helps, but when it comes to the team, it's a new team. Everyone here has been recruited by me, and they're much younger and much less on their way. They're on their way to becoming men volleyball players.
Yeah.
And helping them grow along that path is a challenge that I did not have the last 2 years.
So you're in your 3rd year. This is your 3rd year at Kings?
Yeah.
Okay. Then previous to that, were you a head coach at club? Any club teams?
Not since COVID. I didn't head coach anything after COVID. I actually took a step back from coaching to focus on my career.
So you you'd helped assistant coach quite a bit and always involved in volleyball, but
yes,
really this job at King, correct me if I'm wrong, was like it's really your first foray in being a head coach of a competitive team.
Yeah. I did some head coaching in other sports, badminton and soccer. And then I ran a lot of coach camps as a head coach at my old high school with Volleyball Alberta, with other volleyball programs. Did head coaching there, but coaching a team for a full season is much different.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was by far my biggest gig as a coach. Yeah, for sure.
Have you found, like being in this head coaching role, have you found it difficult to like find your voice or find your philosophy as a coach? Like, I know as a coach, like it always evolves. And Donnie, you as a new coach, coaching young club team, finding that voice and finding who you are and who you want to be to your players. Do you think being thrown into the fire like you kind of were, did that help you find your voice faster, or are you the same way? Is it more evolving and trying to adapt to the players that you have at that time?
I think what you just said there, adapting to who I have is a big one, but I learn every day, sometimes from my assistant coaches, sometimes from my players, and getting new types of personalities in my gym forces me to adapt and to learn. And if I can't help them, I need to bring someone in who can help them. But a lot of my philosophies, I still stand by. And for example, fundamentals are key. You hear that at every age, and I stand by it.
Every age, every level, and almost every sport.
Yeah.
Fundamentals are huge, yeah.
If you got good fundamentals, it's much easier to progress to the next stage, and it's something you can always fall back on. So building good habits from the moment you walk into the gym, from how you hit your down balls in pepper to the work ethic you put in pepper, that all translates into the rest of practice. If you're slacking off in practice, you're going to slack off in that first drill. Coaches are wondering, why are we having a slow start? Well, did you take your shoulder warm-up serious? Did you break sweat before you came into practice? Are you ready to practice? Right? In a game, you don't get that first couple points as freebies. You need to be ready. So your warm-up needs to be done right to prepare yourself for that intensity that you're going to face in game. Practice is no different. So a couple of my philosophies there. Practice like how you play, coming into practice like you would a game. And fundamentals are key, but I've learned new things and I've adapted, like always growing. I'm nowhere near my peak of knowledge, and in 10 years I could be saying something completely different.
So how do you manage that? So this is what I'm struggling with right now as a coach. So I coach U14 girls. So I know fundamentals are key, but I also want to teach them, the next level. So how do you manage the keeping fundamentals important to practice, but also teaching them, these girls are getting better every week of practice. So like they're ready to, I want to show them like maybe running the middle quicker, but I also don't want to waste an hour of practice doing that when, they still need passing work. And they're not going to run, it's pretty obvious, but we're not going to be able to run anything faster if they can't pass a free ball. So, so how do you manage that at a higher level, doing the fundamentals and also working on getting them better and becoming a more, the more advanced part of the game?
Yeah, well, you kind of, I feel, answered your own question there in a little bit, where to run a faster middle, the pass needs to be there.
Yeah.
As a hitter, the footwork needs to be there. The setter, their hands, right? Those are all fundamentals. And then doing them in now a 30 or a 50 or a quick run or something like that, they're executing those fundamentals, but at a higher level. So if they can't do them to begin with at a beginner level, then they're going to struggle to do them at the higher level.
Right.
They need to be able to adjust their footwork faster to run that faster ball. The pass needs to be even more perfect sometimes, and in tougher scenarios as well. So if you can't pass a free ball well, when it's just given to you, how are you going to pass a little down ball that's just outside your body?
Right.
So it all goes back to the fundamentals.
So are you spending time at practice just doing like boring fundamental drills, or are you mixing that into like you're doing the offensive work, but you're forcing them to work on the fundamentals while they're doing that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. Early on in the year, it's a little more boring for sure. And there's some slope fundamentals, even at the college level, which some people might be surprised. I know my athletes were surprised that I had them doing things like that. But progression, finding ways to make it more exciting and more challenging instead of repeating the same drill over and over again. One drill we do all the time, we do it on Mondays to get them going again. Free ball weave can be done at any level. Simply 3 people in the back row weaving, passing free balls. We then move that to now going over the net. So it's more game, like the ball's coming over the net and they're throwing it. Now they're hitting down balls. Now we call it down ball weave, and it goes at a faster pace. So just progressing it more, and now our focus isn't just passing the down ball, it's also the arm swing from the people hitting the down balls.
Yeah.
They're standing. Yeah. And a lot of these guys are 6 to 6'4", which doesn't make them like much above the net. So they need to have eye contact. And now we're able to hit 2 fundamentals in one simple warm-up drill. So kind of like that. And then just progression. Once things are good, we can progress it to a next level that make those fundamentals more challenging for them.
Right.
Yeah, it's like we talked a little bit about it on the last one, where we're stacking those skills. Right. So like doing, maybe at the start of the season, you're doing, 45 minutes of passing, simple, working on the footwork, working on your platform, watching the ball, like that sort of thing. And then maybe near the end of the season, now that you're only touching on that in like the first 5 minutes of that drill, and you've made the drill harder, right? Like you've added the 30 to it, or you've added quicker sets to it. But you also like, and that's one of the philosophies that I like to instill, and you've seen it from the player and for me, Ryan, where I want you to fail and I want you to be okay with failure. So like showing the kids a new drill or showing the kids a new play, right? To get them excited and curious about that, and they can't execute on it. And then that gives them the drive to execute better on the more simple drills. Right. And that's the philosophy that you like say, okay, like here's where I want you to get. And everyone fails at it. Everyone tries it once or twice in a practice. And then you bring it back. So then they're like, okay, I now get it. I now understand why we're doing 1,000 reps of this. Right. Because we don't have the skill.
We'll go and like get them to try this like complex drill that needs a perfect pass, a perfect set, and a perfect down ball.
Yeah.
And like for my team, there's no way they'd be able to do that. They wouldn't be able to do a pass.
So it's putting that challenge
and roll shot.
Yeah.
More than once over the net.
Like, and it's putting that challenge in place. It's like building in the failure into the drills and into the practice. but then explaining why it's good to fail. Like you don't want them to cheat during that, right? Like you don't want them to have a poor arm swing, right? Or you don't want them, setting the ball improperly or not having their feet to the ball, that sort of thing. Like, and that way you can peel the drill back and make them understand. And then so maybe you spend 5 minutes on getting them to fail in a drill, and then you peel it back and spend another 15 minutes on maybe fundamentals or something more intermediate.
Yeah, kind of showing them the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think what I'm a believer in is muscle memory is so big in volleyball, because you have a split second to react to whatever play is happening. Your swing happens in a very short time, and it gets shorter the higher level you go. You need to make these decisions quick. You can't be thinking about your arm swing. You got to worry about that block in front of you. So if you're in your pepper and you're doing a shoulder warm up and you're just swinging the ball very low and you're bouncing balls, and then you get into, let's say, down ball weave and you're still hitting the ball at a low height, and then on game or wash, you're swinging at a low height.
Yeah.
Right? And we're like, we need you to contact that ball higher. Okay. But it needs to start at the start of practice.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you get those reps in and it just becomes an automatic thing for you to do, then we can work on the next thing. But we need you guys to do it yourself. I can't force you to swing the ball high in pepper. Right? I remember when I was young, we used to just bounce the ball in so you could get it closest to the roof. But what did that do for us? It did absolutely nothing in game. And this might be just a whole nother topic, but with what social media is doing for volleyball, it's definitely making it more popular, but there's a lot more highlights getting posted and a lot more kids now watching pros on YouTube. And you see what pros do, and they swing their arms a lot when they pass. Like a free ball comes and they don't get low, they don't use their shoulders to shrug, they swing their arms.
It's going to be crazy.
Puts it right on the setter's head. So I got guys who are doing that, and
It's what
I mean, how many reps had those pros had to get to that level?
Thousands and thousands and thousands.
You have to earn.
Yeah,
you have to earn your ability to do that.
Yeah,
you have to. Like, I don't call it lazy, but they've got their own flair to it, and I say this to setters all the time too. Like, you're gonna get to a point. Like, I want you to do it fundamentally right all of the time, and then when you get better, then be a little creative on how you're going to get to the ball or how you're going to finish and that sort of thing. But that drives me absolutely crazy. Like, I know coaching this last year, the high school kids, and we use Huddle, and I had to shut off the kill highlights in Huddle because that was the only thing that they were watching. They're like, oh yeah, we're watching video, we're watching the games, and you can go back in, and it was just like guys were just downloading their hit highlights. And I thought that was hilarious.
I mean, it's cool. That's what makes a lot of whatever we all like about volleyball is those clips. But then it's
you're trying to.
You got to kind of realize that you're not. It's fine. You want to be at that level, but we're not all professional level players. We can't do certain things. They're adding that flair. This is the end of their. They're at the end of the line for skill development.
Yeah,
they're adding that flair.
So I got a question for you guys, and something that maybe been getting on my nerve a little bit more in my practice, especially the last 2 days. Been doing a lot of defense. A lot of players at the high level, they play with their arms out and their palms up, and they don't put their hands together and make a platform in defense. So I think they do that because the ball is coming so fast. Sometimes you just need to be big and you can't react. You physically can't react sometimes fast enough. And you just need to have as much surface area as possible. But what I see my athletes do is a freaking down ball. It's coming 30 kilometers an hour, and they're trying to pass it like that and scoop it. I'm like, what are you doing? Put your hands together.
Yeah.
Oh, so are you teaching them like the scoop?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
But everyone is doing it, and they resort to it, and
because they see, oh, that's cool, and then you see these clips. Some other on Instagram, I've seen people teach all the time.
Right?
Yeah, it's a high level.
It's a reactive
something rather, and it's good. Like I used to do that. I do the scoop, but that's it's like a last resort.
Yeah,
the last resort situation.
Yeah. Would you do that in service, Steve? No. Your coach would lose his mind.
And maybe it's his mind. Yeah. Maybe if it's like you're we're in an international game and a guy's serving 120 kilometers an hour, then, maybe you've got to do it. But
Yeah, but very rarely. And that,
pretty rarely in the ACA see someone serving 120 clicks.
yeah. And that's the serves that we're getting are coming at us faster than some of the balls that are getting hit at us. And we're still doing that. I have guys just sitting there when we're doing a defensive-based drill the other day, and that's all they're doing. And the part of the drill is to get a good ball up so that the second guy can make a good out of system set. And they're not providing any good balls. And I'm screaming at them as I'm ripping down balls at them, like, put your arms together, make a platform. And the next thing you know, boom, perfect pass, boom, perfect dig.
Yeah.
And
there's a reason why putting your arms together has worked for 50 years in the sport.
exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Again, last minute resort. And what I see from the scoop too is it happens when you can't get your other arm there, is the way I use it. So as a volleyball player, when we're making a dig, we want to get our arm in a spot and then bring our other arm there.
Yeah.
We don't swing our arms there because then we're creating momentum that's going to shank.
Right,
the ball.
shanks.
Yeah.
So if I'm trying to make a dig on the inside and it's coming fast, I first get my right arm there, and then I try and get my left arm there. And the entire time I'm trying to get my left arm there is I have my palms up and I'm kind of in that scoop form. But then as soon as I can get my arms there, I get them together. And now I have a platform.
Exactly.
And now I won't just get the ball up. I'm going to redirect it to my setter.
Yeah,
There was a lot
there's
of
a difference between. That's what I think a lot of like when you get to the next level of maybe going from club to university, say, the difference between a perfect dig and a dig. That's a pretty easy technical thing to work on, but a lot of times the players don't realize that little movement is going to translate to a point. That's going to increase your percentage of getting a point by like whatever the number is. Like you can go to the analytics, but I'm sure it's like 50% or whatever.
Yeah.
But if you just get it up and your setter's got to try even harder to make a perfect set. But every little incremental skill you do is going to slowly, incrementally increase your chances of getting a point. And I think a lot of times diggers don't really realize that. They're just like, oh, I got the ball up. Yeah, really the setter can't get it, or the setter's not going to be able to get good hands on it. But if you can just make that that dig a little bit better, you're going to give your setter a little bit better of a chance to make a perfect set. That's going to make your hitter it's incremental, right?
Yeah.
And I think young kids really don't understand that.
No, I don't think they understand at all. And one of the things that I've tried recently, over like kind of that new age volleyball player coming up, and as coaches, like we said, we need to adapt to the athletes that we have. I've been starting to get into the mindset of like, okay, if you're making that contact, you need to make it so the next player has an easier time to do their job. If you're working a little bit harder to give them a good ball, then you're setting up the next touch to be a little bit better. It seems like guys are starting to understand that, okay, like I need to think about the next guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then, and it's like setters too, right? Like,
Yeah, that was
work a little bit harder and put it in a tighter spot, or you're working on your location. You're just making it easier for your hitters.
right. Yeah, if you can take, this is what I always liked in my head when I was playing. Like if I could take a bad pass and make it a perfect set, like turn a one pass into like a perfect set, that flipped the whole play around, right?
Yeah.
If a setter can do that, if a setter can take a bad pass and make it a perfect set, well, you just change the whole play.
Yeah, exactly.
Bettering the next ball.
Yeah, you're bettering. Yeah, but yeah,
Better the ball.
bettering the next ball. But I think that that's the easy way to put it.
Yeah. And so when we took a break there, we were talking about bettering the ball. And Ryan, you had some thoughts on that. Why don't we continue?
Yeah, it just made me think about beach volleyball, and I'm not able to play competitive indoor anymore because I coach 6 days a week. But in the summer, it's my time for me, and I play a lot of beach as well as coach beach. And if you are a beach player, you know that you want to make that first contact as good as possible because you are most likely getting that third contact.
Yeah. Because
And-
if you're playing with you'll give the death stare.
Yeah.
It'll be better.
Yeah. Shout out to my beach partner, Duncan, out there. He knows the feeling, how competitive I can get. But it's so important for any level of volleyball to make that first contact as good as you can. And we're talking about having a strong platform when you're digging that ball. And I think using the scoop dig as a kind of a last resort. But for anyone out there, I recommend getting into beach because you learn these lessons harder and faster, and not only does it help with the learning the entire part of the game because you're not just a position, you're a volleyball player out there, but it also helps with the physical traits of volleyball.
It helps. Yeah, it helps with everything. Your footwork. You have to have helps with your foot speed. Helps you learn how to get points.
Yeah.
Helps you learn. You're touching every other ball, right? So you have to touch. You have to learn every skill. I was lucky that I grew up in the beach, and I think that helped me understand the game, like the overall game, how to score, how to win. I think a lot of times, like kids, don't necessarily know how to manage a game. Like one thing about volleyball is like certain points are more important than other points, right?
Yeah.
Depending on, and if you're just a kid playing, not looking at the score, you don't learn that. So you learn, and when you're playing beach, there's only two of you. You have to be on the same page, and you have to know all those different strategies. And you just when you play beach a lot, you just learn all those. You have to learn it if you want to be successful. Just kind of.
Well, it's like, the other thing it helps too is the communication side of things. Like you guys are running that. There's two guys and you're running that court.
Yeah.
And I've always said that to my players too. Like get on the beach, right? And learn how to communicate with the guy next to you. Because you can do it there. The transition indoor is way easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, I highly recommend beach volleyball to anyone, and that's what I'm going to be telling my guys to do this summer to grow up and become better players of the game. Get on the beach courts and coach or watch volleyball.
So, like for the coaches listening, or the players that are getting the inside track by listening to this, like what would you recommend? Like how do players get involved on the beach? Like, are there leagues that they can look up, or are there programs that they can go? Because like it's not that well known, I don't think. Like it's definitely a growing sport.
Yeah.
Donnie, you might know a little more.
I would say
But
if you're a player watching or if you're a coach, just get your feet in the sand with a volleyball.
Yeah.
And rally.
Yeah.
Try to put the ball over, try to do an approach, see how different it is, chase a ball down, just pepper, and you'll just be like, oh shoot, I have to take that extra step to get to the ball. I can't do that scoop dig because my feet are stuck in the sand. I have to lift them up out of the sand and move my feet to get to that ball. And then I have to make that perfect pass to my partner because my partner might not have the best hands. So I've got to put it right on his forehead.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So those types of things, and just spend time in the sand with a volleyball. That's
So to answer Shamus's question, first of all, get out of Edmonton, Alberta.
or if play beach somewhere.
No.
every Thursday night or Tuesday night.
The only tough thing,
Wednesday
I'm
night.
joining Larson League.
yeah,
There's the plug.
foundations of my beach.
It really is. It's where you started.
Kind of, yeah.
I know what your roots, right?
Yeah. I never will. But we only have like 4 months of beach.
Yeah,
so
true.
Indoor facilities are nice. But yeah, you can, especially in Edmonton, there's so many leagues everywhere. There's small beach courts you don't even know about. Yeah, everyone, thanks to the internet, you can look up anything. Beach league, volleyball league. Like there are places, there are also a lot of clubs out there that are getting bigger into coaching, more beach focused. My sponsor in the summer, they're doing more stuff.
Like you said, you were coaching at Aspire, right? Like
coach. Yeah. I'm not sure how much we can name drop here, but yeah.
Yeah, let's name it.
Yeah. We're looking for more
We're
sponsors.
building a community here.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect.
So if we can say something that's going to help somebody else, let's do it.
So the group that sponsors my beach team, BT Nietzsche, an indigenous group, they're looking to do more. They also want to get their hand in on building the indoor facility, Aspire Volleyball. They have a couple great mentors for beach volleyball. Yeah, there's not a whole bunch out there, but in Edmonton specifically, but it's getting bigger and bigger. I've had clubs reach out to me. Hey, can you come run this beach session? Hey, can you come do this beach session? I did one out in Stony Ravens.
Oh yeah.
I did one for them this past summer, and a lot of guys don't like it at an early age because they can't bounce a ball as much anymore. But I mean, nothing for me is better than playing the sport you love out in the sun, getting a good sweat on, and
nothing is better for me playing beach volleyball than tricking some young, tall athlete with a pokey.
yeah.
Yeah, classic.
Scored the exact same amount of points as when you packed me last point. So
Yeah.
when you hit 3 feet over top of me,
Point.
my pokey to the deep corner tricked you.
Yeah.
And I scored.
And
You just, a point is a point.
Well, maybe we'll have an audience out for Larson League this year if this thing grows.
oh wow,
They'll
you get a lot of laughs.
yeah.
And I also personally love it. And now we're just talking about beach, but I'm in for that. I'm a shorter guy. I'm not even 5'11". Indoor, I was always felt limited. Coaches didn't want to look at me, didn't want to give me a chance. Other than Shamus, I'm smaller, and that has a big impact on indoor. No matter how high you can jump or how fast you are in the sand, you don't really, start at a very high level. You don't have a coach. There's no one telling you can't do that. If you can get a dig and then you can score that point in transition, that's all they care about.
Mm-hmm.
And there are some fantastic beach players out there who are much smaller, and I feel unlimited, right? Yes, the higher I can jump will help me, and that's something I'll work towards, and I gotta fight for. But I might be better in control of my body, and I can be quicker off the jump, which is so important in beach versus guys who have these very long limbs.
And the other thing that gives you an advantage, Ryan, probably discounted a little bit, but I remember seeing you play in college. Your cardio is like next level. You probably have the best cardio. You're probably when you're playing, you probably have the best cardio of any volleyball player in the ACAC. When you
Fitness wise, yeah, I would agree.
That's probably true. I remember watching you online. So like the cardio is so important in the beach.
Yeah.
You can really put pressure. If you just put pressure on teams, have longer rallies, they're just gonna get tired.
Yes. And maybe my first year college coach who made us run 6 kilometer uphills helped with that. But a lot of that just came from the more I got to play, the better my cardio got. Because every time I was on that court, I pushed myself to my limit. And guarantee you my first 2 weeks back in the sand this year is going to be exhausting and I'm going to want to throw up. But I'll push back through that. I don't train a whole bunch of cardio. I train more HIIT, high intensity, shorter intervals. But yeah, it definitely helps. And muscle endurance as well. Like being able to exert your muscles that much for that long.
Maybe I used the wrong word, cardio. Overall fitness, maybe this is the better word. I don't know.
Yeah, different types of fitness and endurance, but it for sure matters.
But it's a controllable, right? Like it's not a controllable, but
Your work ethic.
And that's the nice thing about beach. And
Yeah, and like to go back to height and that sort of thing, and as a coach, and I know we'll get into the recruiting side of things maybe on the next time around, because recruiting as a college coach is in a whole different beast. But we'll park that one. But as a coach, and when I found you, that was one of the things that stood out to me. Like you're always the last one off the court. Like I was watching warm up, you're always the last one. Wanted to get one more swing in or a couple more touches in, and that stands out as a coach. And I think you'll probably start to see that, Donnie, with your crew. You'll start to see those kids. They're like, oh, just a little bit more. Oh, can we try that one more time? Like and like really try to like take that passion from those kids and like transplant it into your other athletes, which is difficult to do. You were on that Concordia team, and I worked you guys extremely hard, but what I was trying to do was get people to work as hard as you were working. Because if I had a team of Ryans, like we would just, and that was the thing, we would outwork other teams.
Mm-hmm.
And we weren't the tallest, we weren't the most skilled, but we would definitely outwork you. And I think, I think you might be seeing that a little bit with your Kings team right now too, is like instilling that work ethic and pushing them to failure and being okay with that.
Is that something you can coach, or like obviously some kids have that naturally, but how do you instill that in
It's hard. Like it's like teaching kids how to win, right? And we talked a little bit about like trying to gamify drills or gamify like skill development. Teaching that work ethic or teaching them to work that hard is difficult, and I feel like it's getting more and more difficult. You see it daily, so like you might have some opinions on that.
Or just how, maybe for lack of better terms, but sensitive kids are these days, because the coaching has lightened up because of politics behind the scenes. You can only be so tough. It's harder to instill that die-hard work attitude, right? We can't put a garbage can in the middle of the gym floor and after a game and say run till you puke. Like, that doesn't happen anymore. That would fly.
Yeah, that's what I'm struggling with right now. Is like, how do you? So last weekend we had games, and we missed a ton of serves, and it was pretty obvious that the girls were like nervous. So how do you recreate girls being nervous, or your players being nervous in a practice, so they can have that feeling? Well, when I was growing up, it was like, I missed a serve, we're running 4 sets of dive lines. Well,
Yeah.
I don't think we can do that.
So the nervous part of that, and you do it through exerting, physical activity on them too, but you do it as a team thing. So then you can bring the nerves back in, where you've got, 12 girls standing on the back line, and you're singling out one girl. You got to make your serve. If you don't make your serve, the whole team runs.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And then you put that same girl on that back line and do it again. So she might miss 10 serves in a row, and that's 10 sets of lines.
Right.
Then you're recreating those nerves, because she's
not sure
really nervous. It's like,
It's kind of frowned upon too.
it kind of is, but it's not something that you need to do for 45 minutes of practice. But it might be an interesting way to start a warm up.
But at least they are in control of it. If you don't make your serve, if you make your serve, nobody runs.
Right.
So you can't get that mad at the coach.
Right. But I think my point is, I think that's been sort of taken out of the game,
And parts of it have.
because it's confusing. Like, you go through these courses, and the courses will say, don't use workouts as discipline.
Yeah.
Like, that says that in the coaching, the coaching course that you take. So then you get these new coaches. But I think the point is, like, you can still do it if you get buy-in from the team and everybody understands.
Yeah. If you set those expectations out,
This isn't discipline. We're doing this to get. This is the reason we're doing it, to put some pressure on you, so you get better at the game.
and I think like parents need to realize that too. And I think that's why it's so important to put a season plan together. Like, obviously practice planning is key, but putting that season plan together and sharing that, with the parents and with the athletes, and show them that here's what we're doing, and here's how we're going to recreate that. Here's the fitness that we're going to use. Fitness might be used as part of punishment in a practice, but there's two ends to that, right? Like, it's helps build the skill and it helps build the fitness.
Right.
So if you're explaining that at the start, I think it makes it a lot easier for you to use it. But on the flip side of that, and it's also really tough to do, is if you consistently have like one or two athletes that are always standing out, they're always finishing first. If you start to praise them more and more and more, then other kids are like, I need to work harder.
Yeah.
My coach likes the hardest working kids. Yeah. So I need to work harder.
And you also be careful of what kids.
Oh, it's a fine.
Kids go the other direction.
Yeah, it's such a fine line, and even tougher as you get older, because you're coaching guys that are 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, right? They're kind of stuck in their ways, and they may have never had a coach like you that expects more out of them.
Yeah,
and it's tough. But explaining to some of these athletes, especially at that level, you're here, so why not put the work in, right? Like, you've made it this far, so why not give that extra inch? Like, why not put an extra 10 minutes in the gym?
Yep.
Right? Because the last thing you want to do is end your 4 or 5 year career and then regret not putting the work in because you didn't reach your full potential.
Yeah, I really try to get that point across to them, and I personally hate doing it. Brendan would know that I try to never run the guys, because we only have an hour and a half with our university. Yeah, it's a waste of time. So if I really need to get a point across, then maybe it's worth it. But they should be doing that on their own time at this level. If you're coaching a younger group, then it's good for them at a younger level, and find fun ways to include the fitness into the volleyball.
Mm-hmm.
But I think with what you were saying earlier and building up that confidence and that nervousness, finding ways, which I've found helps. This helps. I'm not the best at doing it, but finding ways for them to succeed and giving them little wins in practices, setting goals that are very achievable, that your girls team will get very happy to complete. There can be a serving drill. Hey, you do this, like, there's no punishment, and make it achievable for them. Get them these wins. Let them win in practice. Let them get confident in practice. And this can't be an all the time thing. They might get arrogant. They might think they're too good or whatever. But I know with my guys, I'm Monday, Tuesday, I'm more strict and more hard. We're learning from the weekend. Wednesdays, game day practice a lot of the time. But by Thursday, like, I'm generally more positive. trying to bring back more confidence in them, pick them back up, and make sure they're ready to go into the weekend with a head held high. Now, not to say it's worked this year. It's been a tough year for a young group of guys, but I know a lot of other coaches are doing that, and letting them have these small wins and these small victories can go a long way into game. Because if they never win in practice,
Going into a game,
they'll never win in game.
Yeah, you have to think when you play a volleyball game. It's sometimes you have to be a bit delusional. You have to think. You have to know that you're better than the other team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you go into a game knowing that the other team is better than you, or thinking that the other team is better than you, it's an uphill battle to get that up.
Mindset, and a mindset's
If you have that, if you have that mindset that, they're good. Like, you have to respect the other team. Like, you can't be like, oh, they're trash.
Yeah,
but you have to have confidence in your team that we can get this done.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. Such an important point. And teaching that mindset is so important too. Like, you need to be humble, or someone's going to humble you for you, right? And you need to have that confidence to go out there and know that you can execute on the skills that you've been learning in practice. And I think, that approach of, it was the same when I coached, at the college level and higher. It was the same thing. As you go into competition, you're putting drills in place that they're not going to fail at, right? You're writing notes on all the negatives and you're coaching all the positives, right? Like, you'll make those notes because now when Monday comes back around, we're gonna hit those negatives, those things that aren't working. But on a Thursday before a Friday game, you're not rewiring that negative in time for a Friday game. And it's just it's not worth the challenge. You pick that back up on Monday.
For a game, yeah.
Like, as you get into premiers and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
you you'll start to see is like
monthly, probably like more of a monthly thing for club because you only have premiers.
Yeah, and as you build up to your premiers, you're probably playing more mini games. You're playing it more 6-on-6. You're playing more
competitive for sure.
More competitive, and then just positive. But it's tough. Like, coach is not an easy thing, and it's and for a lot of coaches out there, when you kind of get your back up against the wall, like, it can be a lonely, frustrating place at times, right? Like, we've talked about this, and what we kind of want to create here is that community where, we can go and support other coaches and let everyone know that we all go through the same thing.
Yeah, you're not alone.
Yeah, because it's coaching some teams at that competitive level, or trying to come up with new ideas. At Concordia, we lost a lot, and I wasn't used to losing.
Yeah,
there were some long sleepless nights of doubting myself as a coach, and I think everyone goes through. I think you go through that as a player too, obviously, but I feel like as a player you can control a little bit more. But as a coach, and I'm sure you've had it this year, where you're just like, yeah, is this my problem? Is this my fault? Am I this crappy?
100%. My first 2 years, like I said earlier, we had great teams. We've had the best finish in regular season Kings has ever had. My first year, I'm like, wow, awesome. Did I think that was me? Gosh, no, not at all. Yeah. Did I help? I hope so. This year, I have a young team. I knew it'd be a struggle. I did think we'd be further along than where we are, but kind of got into this hole of negativity and guys doubting themselves. And I've probably lost hair this year that I shouldn't have.
I see some.
Yeah, probably. Don't zoom in.
Losing, I mean, it's like losing is contagious and winning is contagious. So
yeah, and you get into this rabbit hole. And I know I've experienced it as a coach now and as a player. The vets on that team, when I first joined, I could just feel this losing atmosphere. They would lose, and they were okay about it. Yeah, and I would be grinding my teeth the entire bus ride back. I'd go home. I'd go for a run. I'd do push-ups. I'd do whatever. Like, and especially when I wasn't on. I mean, I was injured for the first couple games of the season, and it sucks. And I really try to hold on to that winning atmosphere that I had for my club team. And as a coach, I need to do the same and find ways to bring it back, or maybe find a player who can come in and bring it for me, and guys can build off that. But it has been a tough year, a lot of sleepless nights. I'm reading podcasts, I'm reading books, watching podcasts, watching videos. and I'm just in my own head, and I'm so excited to do this and just talk about it all.
Right.
And I think that's going to relieve a lot of stress, some new ideas, and even just talking out loud with someone.
It's good to get it out. Yeah, this is where
Will help.
just I mean, a little bit of history, but we played on the same men's league team for a long time. We'd go out for beers after and have these conversations. I think these are great conversations, so might as well. Maybe we should record them.
And I always leave feeling better.
Yeah.
And I'm like super excited for Hey Coach and for other coaches to feel the same way. Or if you're feeling lost, tune in or hopping on the community chat and chat with some other coaches. And we all can learn something from each other, and we've all had different experiences. But in the end, we're all just trying to better our teams and find different ways to support them and have success.
And build a community. Like volleyball is so fun. Everybody, so when you play it at a high level, we were just talking about this off air, but volleyball is so different. Playing volleyball at a high level is so fun.
Yeah,
it's one of the funnest
It's a great sport. It's fast.
at a high level.
Yeah. There's skill. There's
and just the way, I've kind of discovered this just being a younger coach and sort of talking to parents that have never had any exposure to volleyball. Just the way the scoring works in volleyball. Games to 25, you have to win by 2. There's always going to be some crazy stressful moment of these points, and then crazy plays happen even at, grade 7 volleyball. A girl, it's 13-13, and you think the ball's out of bounds and dive, and you see these parents like, oh yeah, this crazy reaction. And I'm just sitting there like, well, yeah, that's fun. But that's volleyball. That's why you got to chase that ball down, because every point matters.
Yep.
No, and you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So part of this community is having coaches like you, Ryan, and we've talked about this. Obviously, you're young and up and coming coach, but you've got a ton of experience and you're in it every day. You're in it you're in it 7 days.
Yeah, you're doing it full time.
Like, let's be honest, it's 7 days a week. Like you never stop coaching. So part of this community, and you talked about a part of the chat and everything else, is having the ability to share your knowledge. So I've already volunteered you. So like when people reach out, you'll be willing to share drills and ideas and everything else. So part of the community is just, sharing those things with practice plans, season plans, fun drills.
Yeah, definitely.
We'll get
fun drills, how to keep, and gamify things. That's a cool thing to say, but how do you do that? Like, what does that look like in a game, in a practice? So we'll chat about that kind of stuff.
No, yeah, I think
more details.
I think this is a great spot to end it. Do you have any other comments before we let you go? This is the first one. You're going to be on here weekly, so
I could go on for another couple hours, and we've done this, and I'm just excited to get more guys on here, more girl coaches, whoever, and let's chat, let's learn together. This is what I miss, and the biggest thing that I think will help me is talking to other coaches. And no matter if I was 80 and been doing this for 70 years, I want to learn more, and I'm going to continue to grow. So thanks for this, and
it's fun.
I'm excited for more.
It's fun.
I'm going to watch this back too and probably correct myself and maybe learn from myself.
Exactly.
I said that, but do I really do it in practice? I don't know.
Hey. Yeah, did I really make a good practice plan? I know we talked about it.
Am I a positive coach? We'll find out.
Yeah, you'll have some critiques from your players if they start watching this too.
Yeah,
players are not allowed to watch.
No,
we'll have to.
We'll password protect it. Coaches.
Yeah, if they don't listen to me in person, maybe they'll listen to me on a podcast.
Yeah, no, I think it's good. I think players should listen to stuff like this, because it is an inside track, and it might be a different perspective. Like, every coach has a different way of delivering communication.
Yeah, we're not just showing up to practice winging it. We sort of are pre-thinking about it.
Exactly.
And maybe next podcast we'll talk about this, but I'm staying up late at night thinking about, do I run a 4-2, 6-2, 5-1?
Try them all, Donnie. That's the whole point.
That's the thing I'm going to try to do.
Absolutely. Any final thoughts, Donnie, before we end this one?
No, I think I'm going to do a 6-2 and a 4-2.
Donnie doesn't listen to him.
It's fair play, U14, so you have to
do everything.
No, I think it's good. I had another question for Brian, but we can save that for the next one. But
okay, let's do it. How do we end this?
That's it.
That's it.
This is Hey Coach.
4 coaches, 5 coaches.
Oh no, is that what we're doing?
I don't know. I said.
Okay.